What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another Overwatch League news video. And as you can see, we have yet another one-off to do rather than a recap because news has been so darn dry and you guys still deserve some content. In this video, we're going over yesterday afternoon where the Los Angeles Gladiators finally broke the long streak of silence over North American free agency by announcing that they have acquired Danteh as their new tank for the 2023 season. And yes, I can confirm he will be the tank player if you're curious on whether he'd be DPS or tank. It is shown on the graphic, and it is shown in the recent video that the Gladiators made when announcing him. He is going to be supposedly their main tank, in their words. More on what that could mean later. For now, let's just talk about the fact that this is a pretty logical move, and one that I think a lot of people saw coming regardless of if you knew the rumors or not, as Danteh to Gladiators just seemed like a pretty ideal fit, given the needs, given how little options Danteh really had. Gladiators, I think, is a good place for him to still be somewhat competitive. It's just a mutually beneficial signing for both parties. Danteh gets to remain on a decent team, and with solid coaching around him, he could likely take his tank game to the next level. And on the other side of it, the Gladiators, who were in desperate need of a tank, were probably seeking somebody who was similar to Reiner, you know, an English speaker, someone who's confident, somebody who provides leadership, someone who's consistent. Danteh offers all of those things. Now, a lot of people were also hoping that he would join the London Spitfire, and that also seemed like a pretty decent move on paper. London surprised a lot of people. They have excellent coaching. He could be a good backup to Hadi. The both of them could be a pretty solid 1-2 punch and rotation that could cover all of Hadi's weaknesses. It made sense on that front, but Danteh going to a primarily EU team seemed weird to me. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It didn't seem like something Danteh would want to do. He probably considered it, but going to the LA Gladiators just makes more sense in terms of what he's comfortable playing with. I was a pretty big fan of Danteh's tank play. It wasn't always perfect by any stretch, but what he did as somebody who was always known as a DPS player prior is pretty darn impressive. He could even match somebody like Hanbin on Zarya. He showed he could play Junker Queen. He was one of the league's best Doomfist players. And when push came to shove, when he needed to pick up a new hero, at least for him, in Winston, he was able to do so with mild success. And this is with no prior experience playing the character. So even if, let's say, he is the only tank player on the team, it's not the worst thing in the world. He's shown that he can be flexible, he can pick up things fast, he's a quick learner, he's intelligent, he has a very high IQ at this game, and with good coaches like Face and Unter around him, he could probably progress his tank play even more compared to last year, especially because it'll be his true one and only focus compared to the mess that was 2022 at times with Houston, where sometimes he'd play DPS, sometimes they try and replace him with Doge and Piggy and all that stuff. Now it's just him, and he can really focus on his craft on this different role. But that's of course all on paper, in theory if you will. Which gets me back into the beginning conversation of this video. Supposedly, at least from the wording, it seems like Danteh will be the one and only tank for the Glads heading into the season if he's a main tank, so to speak. Now, this is something that could change with time, maybe through scrims or even during the regular season, but as of right now, just based off of the wording that the Gladiators use, I'm going to assume he will be their one and only main tank, especially because rumor has it that they will be able to fill out their minimum roster size the rest of the way by acquiring 2 DPS players. Those people are supposed to be Kai and Yaki. Those are what the rumors and reports say. Things can change. But as of right now, if things stay that way, I'd assume that Danteh will be their only tank, since most teams in the league are kind of being careful with their budget, so I think the Glads will stick with a smaller roster compared to what we're used to. Then again, the Glads do tend to spend more than most teams on average, and I think if they do start to struggle at some point, they will address that need, which is a very real possibility, just because even though Danteh has shown he can adapt and be a solo tank, you are putting a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, as you don't know what the meta could be at any specific time, and of course there's map-specific metas on top of that, like Circuit Royale for example. We never really seen Danteh play Sig, so could he do that? What if we see a Reinhardt meta? How well can he progress as Winston? All of that stuff is big-time question marks. Dante's an excellent player. He is a star in this league no matter what role he's on, clearly. But I think a lot of Glads fans would feel a bit more comfortable if they had like a true, dedicated main tank to play some of those heroes you're not exactly confident in him playing. It would seem ideal, at least on the surface, for the Glads to maybe go for a veteran that can fill out that role, like Hoppa or Marvel even. Marvel would be a good one. He's a true dedicated main tank, but also has a lot of good experience on the Sigma. Or maybe you want to go with somebody young and interesting, like Belos Rhea or Kellen. Those are the types of moves that I think would kind of complete that Gladiators tank rotation, and generally would make them a more well-rounded roster. But of course, this is just a safety measure, as again, there's unknown variables in his hero pool. However, if he continues to improve at the tank role, and he shows that he can adapt to literally any situation, like he has for the most part so far, Glads will do just fine, as he's shown he can be solid on all of the other heroes at the tank role, basically. Even his Devo is okay, like his Doom is solid, Zarya, Orisa, Hog, he does a little of everything. Dante's a very balanced player and a very solid and reliable player, even at a tank role that he only has 1 year of experience on. Aside from that, I really have nothing but good things to say about Danteh going to the LA Gladiators. He is a solid pickup to make even at the tank position, even if it's something he doesn't have as much experience on. He has shown on this role in just 1 year that he can play very well in extremely meaningful games. Look at what he did in the playoffs. I'm a big fan of Danteh at the tank role. Will he ever be superstar level? Probably not, but he could definitely be role star level, kind of like what we saw in 2022. There's no way of saying for sure if he can be an upgrade compared to Space and Reiner, especially because they have more experience on this role, and they could probably have higher peaks overall than Danteh. But Danteh brings other things to the table that they don't, and that's the important thing to remember. For starters, I think he has the better flexibility and adaptability compared to these guys. He has a larger overall hero pool to work with, and he seems more eager to pick up heroes quickly and do it well and efficiently. And then when comparing him specifically to Reiner, Danteh's just the better overall leader to me, the better guy to build your team around. As Reiner last year during the Summer Showdown did kind of get mentally boomed in a way, and that's not something you see from Danteh. He's kind of been through much worse lows, so he's immune to that kind of stuff. Based off of those first few years with Houston alone, you already know that his mental resilience is through the roof. So in a world where things go wrong, or they get cold, go on a losing streak, whatever it is, I think Danteh can help right the ship and not make this team worse than what they already are. He can stay calm, stay motivated, improve along with the rest of his guys, and get back on the right track. At the very least though, the Glad's got a very solid player at the tank position, a very notable name, someone who will definitely draw in more fans. And it's just great that we have Danteh back in the league in general. If he missed out and he did not find a team, that would be awful. He is a staple of the Overwatch League and one of the longest running players we have. He's a fan favorite. He's absolutely amazing. And it's kind of crazy because according to Danteh, he only had a couple of teams that were actually interested in him, which is wild. That is how bad free agency is compared to other years. Everyone's either going Korean or going budget, it feels like. There weren't a lot of in-betweens, which was really bad for Danteh. I'm glad he found a new team, though. And a good one, nonetheless. Not amazing, but probably better than most, if not all of the other options on the table. Maybe London was out there, which could have been good too, but aside from that, what really were his choices? Like alexyOWL? Nobody wants to go there, and Danteh wants to at least have a chance to win. This dude hasn't even come close to winning a championship, and he's been here since 2018. I'm glad he didn't settle and that he found a decent home and that he still gets at least one more year in the league with us. It is great that he's back, and I cannot wait to see what he does in his second full year as a tank player. But until we get to that day, we're going to leave the Danteh discussions here. Let me know what you think about Danteh going to the LA Gladiators down in the comments section, and the fact that he is a tank player yet again. Do you like it? Do you think he should have gone elsewhere? Do you think he'll be good on the Gladiators? Give me all your thoughts down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to stay up to date with all things Overwatch League news related, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.